You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
We now wander off the beaten path with an update from the Reefer Reporter.
Hello and welcome to the Reefer Reporters. It's August the 22nd in 2022, and we are live here at our YouTube channel and Facebook pages from the Legacy420.com news desk. Good morning, Rev Kelly. How are you doing today?
Good morning and happy Monday. It's a wonderful Monday, even if it is raining outside. It's so nice to see you.
You know, it is wonderful that it's raining, to tell you the truth.
That's true.
Really.
That's true.
Because the lawn is crunchy out there right now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. How are your plants?
We need the water. Ponds and stuff like that. I'm sure people's wells are getting pretty low.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you garden a lot. You grow a lot of vegetables and such. So how are all your plants?
Correct. Exactly. I was talking to the son-in-law there on the weekend about putting a 500-gallon drum off the building in order to collect the rainwater, so that maybe next year, come this time of year, when the water level goes down, we'll be able to grab some water out of that.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, instead of using the well, right? So yeah, see what happens. First off, I want to say hello to our listeners in Argentina, Poland, Brazil, Bolivia. Yes, people from those countries turn into our Reefer Reporter audio podcast. I want to make sure to say hi to them. And other than that, what's new with Rev Kelly?
Oh, we're having an event this weekend, a really big event at Oneida Cannabis, which is an indigenous sovereign cannabis store in the London area. And we're going to go celebrate their anniversary with them. We've got a big stage. KGL TV is doing the whole stage this year. So we're pretty excited for that party. Nice. Yeah, we've got panels and we've got entertainers and we've got a talent show. It's going to be
excellent.
Fun. Yeah,
excellent. And the book thing was on the weekend. The release party.
We've Mama Earth read The Smelliest Flower in the Garden to children this weekend, so that was a really nice experience. And she got her photo taken in cannabis plants, so I'll be posting that online soon too.
I bet she sure enjoyed that.
She's green for a reason, Al.
That's right, exactly. Well, what do you say? We get on with the news?
Yeah.
All right. First story up for the day is Sun Farm extends pot research partnership with Simon Fraser University, and that comes to us from Mugglehead Magazine.
That's right. Delta-based cannabis producer Pure Sun Farms, which is a subsidiary of Village Farms International Incorporated, has extended its research partnership with a renowned Canadian West Coast university.
Yeah, on Wednesday, the company announced the expansion of the research partnership with Simon Fraser University for 3 more years. The partnership began in 2018, and ever since, the SFU researchers and the company's cultivation team identified pathogens affecting the cultivation of greenhouse-grown cannabis, which has led to the development of cutting-edge biological, cultural, and environmental control strategies for cannabis.
As part of the partnership, researchers and students have access to Pure Sun Farms' on-site laboratory and a 65,000 square foot processing center to research ways to mitigate threats to cannabis plant health. Wow! Could you imagine if we had said this 10 years ago? People would be that would have never happened. Wow.
Exactly. Wow. They say that at Sun Farms, they believe in supporting academics to learn more about the cannabis plant and what keeps it healthy. We're a flower first company, and we know it all starts with the plant, and that's according to the president and CEO, Madash Doshan.
Yes, right. And he's quoted as saying, Dr. Punja's work has helped us promote plant health, and through his continued partnership with SFU, we look forward to unearthing research findings that will allow us to continue to optimize the quality of our flower while upholding British Columbia's proud heritage as one of the world's best cultivators of cannabis.
Oh, there you go. So it's good to see they're studying and working on making the environment better for growing cannabis in
Yeah.
greenhouses.
Wow. That makes me want to buy their products more. That makes me
Well,
say, okay, well, maybe the next time I go into a retailer, I will choose Pure Sun Farms, because if they're that invested in good work, in education, I'll support them.
well, good, you gotta be able to grow good quality cannabis,
Yeah.
and you gotta research. There's people out there that need to learn that, and we all can
Yeah.
learn that, no matter how long we've been growing for, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, just like a patience, we always learn more. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right, on to the next headline. This one comes to us from Stratcan. Micro licenses taking off in Quebec.
Right, more than any other province so far, its Labelle province has had 40 new micro licenses issued so far this year for a total of 71. 7 of those licensees came within the last month alone. 7 of the
Hmm.
last 8 licenses issued as of August 12th were in Quebec.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder
Yeah.
what the draw is there. Yeah, they say this compares to 36 issued in Ontario this year, 28 in BC, 21 in Alberta, 5 in Saskatchewan, 2 in Manitoba, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and 1 in PEI.
Okay. Isn't it
Mm-hmm.
in Quebec that you can't grow your 4 plants?
You correct.
So I
Correct.
wonder if that maybe has anything
I
to
don't
do with
know.
it.
Maybe.
Quebec was behind most of other provinces when it came to federal production licenses in the first few years of legalization. Pierre Leclerc, the CEO of the Association Québécoise de l'Industrie de Cannabis, says he thinks the recent, I'm getting a pop up here. Sorry, Al.
No
The
problem.
recent increase may be a reflection of the maturing market. Quebecers may also be more interested in the small business approach that leads many to a micro license.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be.
Now, according to Leclerc, it says, I think Quebec entrepreneurs sat back a little and watched how the market would play out. What we've seen with the big public companies so far is they've not quite profitable. So I guess going with the smaller scale business is something that is more cultural and historical in Quebec. So building a business model around the micro license production is something that makes sense in Quebec.
Now, the AQIC has around 75 members at the moment, including about a dozen micros, says Leclerc. Despite the uptick in new micro licenses, though, he estimates that out of the 71 micros in the province at the moment, only about 30 are actively producing and selling into different markets.
Yeah,
There's a nice
getting
graph there.
going, eh? You can see the chart
Mhm.
up, 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 up. One factor that he would like to see change is for the SQDC to provide more assistance to local micros who are seeking to sell their cannabis in Quebec, something AQIC have been working with the SQDC on this year.
So Louis Sirois, president of Laboratoire Innovert, a standard processor in Quebec, and the president of Groupe Concel Sirois, attributes part of the increase to a possible shift in Quebecers' attitudes towards cannabis and their faith of the viability of the industry, especially the micro license category.
Yeah, he goes on to say that it could be a lot of things. It's now cheaper to build. They understand the SOPs, and there is more social acceptability. The cannabis market in Quebec is still very close in the minds of people to organized crime. So we definitely do not have the same cannabis culture that people on the West Coast may have. So there's still a lot of education we need to do.
He also says that seeing the SQDC pushing for more Quebec grown cannabis products, which could be encouraging to people looking to get licensed. But in the meantime, he says his own laboratory, Laboratoire Innovert, is still looking to provinces like BC for quality genetics and know how.
Yeah, he says that there's more education that is needed, but he also says that the SQDC really wants to encourage it. I think they are pushing hard to have made in Quebec products. For now, unfortunately, I think we don't have the best quality that you may find in the West, but they would like to put more into the product. So maybe this could encourage small growers in Quebec.
Right. I don't think there's one reason, but it could be a combination of many factors that will bring these companies in. But we're still far behind the rest of Canada, so we are still looking west, which is nice to see that they're including British Columbia.
Yeah. Leclerc with AQIC echoes Soros's comments about a softening attitude in Quebec, society towards cannabis, also helping to encourage more people to look at getting licensed. So even if there's still a long ways to go.
Right. The clerk says, we hope someday cannabis products will be a little bit like alcoholic products and we can work on a smaller scale production, local craft style type of high quality products for the community. I think it's on its way there too. I think
It's on
craft
its
is
way.
on its, yeah.
Yeah. She says that we're not there yet, but I believe it's a good sign in the sense that there's a lot of micros and private investors. That means that legalization is probably working at transferring the market from the illegal activities to the illicit market, and that's a good thing, or to the illicit market. That's a good thing. I think within a few years, it's going to be a good thing for consumers as well.
Okay, so but despite the optimism, both Sherwa and the clerk says they have seen a high failure rate for license holders, large and small in the province, a trend that extends to the rest of Canada. Both estimate that only around 30 of the current micros have commercial production in the province, aside of both the relative ease of which getting micro licenses can be compared to standard license, as well as the challenges at then producing quality products that can succeed in a provincial market.
Yep. So Ross goes on to say many of them are going out of business, big and small. There is a lack of money because no banks will finance projects here in Quebec.
Oh,
And there is a
no.
lack of good quality genetics. So we have a long ways to go, but it's promising.
Yeah, that would contribute to it as well. The
Oh, the
banking
bank and
issues,
things for
of
sure.
course.
Well, we know
Mhm.
that that's happening for everybody in the industry,
Yeah, yeah.
big or small. You know.
It's legal
Um,
now, so they shouldn't be having it tied up with the banking. But of course, it's an uphill battle still, isn't it?
yeah, that's right. Exactly. All right. On to our next story. Headline says cannabis shop in Dynami held hostage by BCGEU strike, says the manager.
I'm so worried about all of them out there. I keep seeing it posted anytime I'm on social media. They're screaming right now. A private cannabis store owner in Nanaimo, BC, says her business is being held hostage by an ongoing strike of some private service workers in the province.
Since the BC General Employees Union, BCGEU, hit the picket lines, Megan Kelly says she has watched her product at Mood Cannabis Company dwindle to dangerous levels.
She says we have about a week's worth of stock left, and once we run out of that stock, we'll be cutting hours, unfortunately. We are looking at closing the store, worst case scenario. Can you imagine?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the BCGEU represents some 33,000 employees of the BC Public Service Agency who went on strike Monday in an effort to secure wage protection and rising inflation and the cost of living.
So, retail cannabis stores are not part of the job action, but the cannabis division of some distribution warehouses are included with those workers.
Yeah, Kelly says that we have no say. We are not union members. We are not public government stores, and we're being held hostage. And according to the Retail Cannabis Association of BC, several stores have been forced to close their doors since the strike began, with more on the brink.
And what happened here with the OCS,
Yeah,
the hack with that, and then retailers were really, really affected by it. You know, anytime I would go in, I'm so sorry our stock is down, posting online, I'm so sorry our
yeah.
stock is
Well,
down. So they're at their mercy.
that's what happened with the hack on the third party distributor. Yeah,
Yep, right.
yeah.
So Jacqueline Bahota, who's the executive director of the Retail Cannabis Association of BC, says this is a fault of a monopoly. We need a contingency plan, or we need multiple points of distribution in order to ensure there is no distribution or disruption.
The provincial government was preparing to allow cannabis stores to accept direct product deliveries from licensed producers long before the strike began. But until those changes are in place, private stores must continue to use government distribution channels. That'd be the same here in Ontario.
So no matter what happens, British Columbians are not going to stop consuming cannabis, she says. They are simply going to revert to unregulated points of access, which to my mind is very suboptimal for both the project of legalization and the health of the small businesses that I represent. She's right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, BCGEU strike has also put the squeeze on the liquor distribution branch, prompting new limits on alcohol sales at government-run outlets effectively immediately. We want the strike to be over as soon as possible. So join our voices, calling the government and our employees to get back to the table, according to the president. So they're even affecting the alcohol. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Provincial Jobs Minister Ravi Collin has said the province remains committed to the collective bargaining process and to reaching a fair and reasonable settlement.
Yeah, well, see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't go on too long, and I hope that no stores will have to be shut down.
Yeah, hopefully next week we're not reporting about
Yeah.
more stores being shut down, so on and so forth. So, all right. Next story. Here we go. This one's from StratCan. Examining the pros and cons of provincial cannabis distribution.
There we go.
Just at the right time, eh?
There we go. The provincially mandated centralized distribution of cannabis in Canada is taking some heat. Of course, the OCS, which we just mentioned, was hit with a data breach last May following a recent online attack on its third-party operated distribution center, Domain Logistics. And in BC, union job action has resulted in the centralized cannabis distribution warehouse suspending orders.
No surprise, the industry is now seeing a healthy debate on the pros and cons of provincial centralized distribution, and particularly monopolies, where there is only one buyer.
I've never heard that word, but I like it. In Canada, producers pay a premium margin to monopsony distributors, which act as a single buyer and price seller for wholesale finished packaging inventory, says Dan Sutton, founder and CEO at Tantulis Labs in Vancouver. In a nascent industry, this arguably simplifies a cultivar's ability to access all retailers in a given province, although in practice, stores that stock and carry products still require ongoing sales relationships.
Sutton notes that when compared to direct delivery models, the cost and margin captured by the province distributors are high. He says that the actual value provided by warehousing and distributing inventory is not reflected in provincial markups. Thus, provincial markups essentially act as a tariff, increasing dead weight loss and reducing competitiveness with the illicit market.
However, centralized government-run systems have distinct advantages. Many retailers appreciate the simplicity. Producers aren't forced to place hundreds of different shipments to retailers, or perhaps worse, with distributors who engage in predatory practices. There are also pluses for smaller providers.
There is always the question of why government monopolies are running the distribution of packaged goods, according to Andre Wong, founder and chief executive officer of Zyre Brands in Vancouver. You go on to say, however, there are actually a lot of benefits of this model that people need to recognize. I am a very small owner operator local company. Had it not been for this model that suppresses pay to play at the biggest retailer in BC, which is the government stores, I probably wouldn't be on their shelves. And if I were on their shelves, I probably would be price negotiated to a level that's not sustainable for a small company to operate because I don't have the economies of scale.
Okay, so producers also have the benefit of simplified invoicing and the ability to send all of their products to one place. Says Albin Shupp, in a centralized system, I send everything in one location and get paid 30 days later. He oversees the operations of Organicraft, a licensed producer in Vernon, BC. He says, otherwise, I have to send 4 cases to one store, 2 to the next, 5 to another. That adds countless hours to me as a salesperson. I had to chase down the invoices, and my bookkeeper and the CFO have to add them and reconcile the books. This was something I had to do in Saskatchewan all the time. I'm guessing that this adds cost to everything too.
Yeah.
Right? And that's why our cannabis is costing so much.
Well, it almost sounded like he preferred to deal with just basically the one place. So that way he's not having to make up a bunch of different bills for different stores.
Yeah.
Whereas he can just do
middleman.
Yeah.
You know, cut right there.
Yeah, you don't always want the middleman in there.
No.
It says that I have been in situations in Saskatchewan where a certain SKU had run its cycle and a retailer had a hard time moving it, according to Schnapp, who's from Organic Craft. I could offer a discount on a new product and they could blend the margins and sell both at once. This was easy. You can solve the problems on the fly, they say.
Okay. So it's asking the question, and the answer is, as jurisdictions in Canada continue to tinker with the distribution models, it's fair to ask, what's the best system? For some observers, it's a hybrid structure that allows for private distributors to participate in a direct delivery.
Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
like the right model.
Yeah. They say in hybrid model, small producers without sales teams can opt to work with one of the several distributors who are forced to price their service competitively, and more mature producers can deal directly with an increasing number of retailer stockists as the demand of their product grows.
And then it allows for the flexibility and relationship between the LPs and the retailers. Now, Chef saying from Organic Craft is saying, I don't get to tell the OCS what I have available. They just tell me what they want. For example, when we launched our Platinum Grape SKU, it sold out immediately. The OCS saw that and sent me 3 purchase orders that equaled 52,000 units for the month of July. That's 300 pounds. We're a micro. I can't grow that much right now, but because I can't deliver, I'm being penalized. My supplier rate has gone down. How's that fair?
Yeah. They say that this glitch could even affect future listings because the OCS or algorithms could provide or could determine that the SKU is not selling as well as it should be based purely on how much volume should have been ordered. This kind of dysfunction is presumably reduced when competition is introduced with a hybrid distribution model.
Okay. Then saying as long as there's more than one distributor in any given market, these distributors are compelled to price their services in a competitive manner. Competition from a hybrid model drives distribution margin down to commodity value over time and reduces the risk of single point failure, and lets producers adapt to more direct relationships as their businesses grow. They choose to, or should they choose. So it's really as they're ready to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Sutton
such a
argues,
better.
Then Sutton argues that through a centralized distribution model may appear to simplify the supply chain for producers. They still need to maintain sales relationships with their stores and conduct internal demand planning. They also shoulder the financial burden of returns should a product age out. He says that it's not difficult to sell 50, 100, or 500 stores directly. Businesses from breweries to bakeries to hobby stores do it every day with a far fresher time or to market obligations.
Wow, I'm so glad they're bringing up the freshness of the product as well. That's a really
Yeah,
important
well,
factor. Shelf
yeah.
life,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
The
Well,
high, would you want to continue?
no, go. Yeah, is there any more here you want to touch on?
I think it's a really nice article. If anybody wants to look it up, it gives a lot
Yeah,
more information. I
there's
think
a
we
lot.
covered all
Yeah,
the points.
it goes on quite a bit into
Yeah,
there, and there's lots there to be read. There's no doubt
yeah,
about that.
yeah.
So, all right, on to our last story before we go to break, and this headline from the Globe says Edmonton police seize $3.3 million of cannabis from an alleged unlicensed online retailer.
I love that photo. Look at them all.
Look at them all, eh?
Charges are pending against several people under Edmonton police officers raided a warehouse and several homes last month, seizing over $3.3 million worth of cannabis products they allege is part of an unlicensed retail operation.
The funds derived from the illegal production and sale of cannabis results in the process generated being injected into the legitimate economy. This can unfortunately undermine the integrity of the financial system. Kelly, I've got to say, when I read that before the show, that's the first time I've ever heard that before.
Yeah.
I've never heard about it. Cannabis could upset the financial system,
Right.
like as far as the illicit market. Yeah, I've just never heard that before.
Right.
It's always demonized for something else.
Right. Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
What's happening there? Also, the illegal production and sale of cannabis causes the regulated cannabis production sites and licensed cannabis retailers to incur a significant loss of revenue. Overall, these activities jeopardize the legitimate industry's existence.
I guess
Say.
that's why maybe maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah. We still have people selling bootleg alcohol 100 years later. So
I think so.
yeah, the EPS said it began to investigate the activities of an online cannabis retailer in Edmonton area in March. Investigators allege it was not properly licensed to grow and sell cannabis, and they believe cannabis production licenses for personal medical needs were being misused to facilitate production.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
On July 19th, police officers executed search warrants at a warehouse in Onaway, Alberta, several homes in Edmonton. They seized just under 2,600 cannabis plants, 134 kilograms of dried cannabis flower, 947 grams of psilocybin, 636 grams of cannabis concentrate products, cannabis cultivation equipment, including specialized lighting equipment, and 3 vehicles, $1,500 in cash.
Nice.
15,000.
Yeah, and they say it's ongoing. So there's some more pictures.
Woo!
Big garden there.
Woo!
There's some bags.
Look at all that. And I think
there you
that in the pictures there, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like at the front there's the psilocybin.
Oh, in the
and the bags.
in the bag.
Like there's cannabis and psilocybin in those bags there.
Could be. Yeah.
Plus, they seized it and they're lumping it in. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
maybe-
Yeah.
Interesting. I know that there's a lot of online out west that people that I know access. So it doesn't say which online distributor it was, but I wonder if my colleagues or friends will be affected by this. They won't be able to get their stuff from their favorite guy.
Obviously, it didn't say anything about any arrests or anything.
No.
Or names, anything like that. So, all right, it's break time. Time to medicate. Rev Kelly and I'll be right back after our medical session. You're watching the Reefer Reporters. We are live here on the Pace Radio Network. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own cannabis is easier than you think. Whether you're growing for recreational or medical purposes, BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. From the standard 4-plant recreational systems to the latest cutting-edge hydroponic equipment, BMA can customize your package and do it at discount prices. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville and ask us for a free estimate. Or call 613-967-9888 and we will give you an estimate over the phone.
The only way to go.
In February of 2022, the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club and Ted Smith were fined $6.5 million. This for helping 8,500 patients with access to medical cannabis. In our interview with Ted, he spoke to us about how people can donate to help in an upcoming court challenge. And here is part of that interview. From what I've seen lately, I believe that you've got something that you're trying to do as far as fundraising to deal with this next court challenge.
For now, people can write checks directly to Jack Lloyd Law Corporation or send e-transfers to save the VCBC at gmail.com. I guess those are the two easiest ways for people to help right now.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Oh, just me. Where did you go? Well, I guess Al's disappeared for a minute, so I'll just start the news without him. Al, are you there? Well, it's just me doing the news, and you won't be able to see the news that he would bring up, so I'll just read it, and I hope anybody that's watching this live stream can follow along with just me, and hopefully Al will come back at some point. Just maybe read you the news, and you'll just look at me instead of the news story because I don't have access to that. This one comes to us from the Cornwall News Watch, and the title is Cannabis Company Buys Cornwall Drugstore. Ooh, I wonder if the weather has caused Al to lose. Yes, his internet has gone down. So I'm just going to pause for a second and see if he wants to continue this broadcast. If you're with us, just give us a moment.
Hey, Rev Kelly, I'm back.
Ooh, you're in and out. You're a little bit unfocused, my friend.
Yeah, almost.
Your internet is down?
Oh, yeah, my internet is down, but I see we're still broadcasting, so that's a good thing. I don't know how, but we're still going. Yeah, obviously the story just disappeared completely, went out on things there. So I can bring that back up. And hopefully we stay here. All right, yeah, because we were in the middle of a commercial when all of a sudden it just went boop, and I went, uh-oh.
Yeah. I came back and I talked to our audience a little bit. I said I'm gonna get a message from Al here and see what he's doing. So you're back. You're a little bit delayed, but I think we can work with it.
Okay. All right. Here we go. We'll get started on our next story here. Okay. And the headline on it says, Cannabis Company buys Cornwall Drugstore.
Yes, that's a great thing here. A cannabis company has bought an independent drugstore in Cornwall's Lee Village. Shiny Bud Cannabis, which has three city locations, recently bought the Cotton Mill Pharmacy for $900,000.
Cotton Mill Pharmacy has been in business since 2015, and it will run under the MIHI, is that what that is? Health and Wellness brand of Shiny Bud.
Co-owner Andrew Hanna is staying on as the vice president of pharmacy operations.
Yeah, Shiny Bud says it's broadening its retail growth strategy with a focus on health and wellness, with its expansion into the pharmacies in order to stand out from competitors. The cannabis company plans to rebrand its parent company as Shiny Health and Wellness Corporation. Rev Kelly, I look at that as, the cannabis health products are going to be coming out, all that down the road.
Yeah.
They already can distribute cannabis through a pharmacy.
Right.
If they go through for the licensing, as we've seen in Ottawa, so I could see that being added to them. And I don't think they're alone. I believe there's other companies that are doing the same thing.
Right.
Slowly but surely, things will be changed over for some of them. And that might, I'm looking at it as maybe increasing it for the medical patient access.
Yes, right. And it's a really great model. I think it's a great model. I think it's a model that you talk about a
Yeah.
lot. And I think we have one pharmacy in Ottawa, and that's the hybrid
Yeah,
pharma.
that's it.
Yeah, so it's nice to see that
Correct.
more are coming and recognizing that this is a health product.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a health product. I was in a local store, and it's interesting to say that now, but I was in a store, and they had a wellness section.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's good to
yeah,
see.
it's coming.
Nice to see.
All right. All right. On to our next story. This one comes to us from the Growth Op. Oh, my internet is slow. I can see that. It's not loading too quickly, Kevin.
That's okay.
There we go. Yeah. Why other countries are legalizing cannabis before the U.S.?
Some flags there. Cannabis policy in the United States has been in the news a lot, but often it is the lack of action that the country is making that is making headlines.
That's right. Yes. Whether it is the Marijuana Opportunity and Reinvestment and Expungement Act floating into limbo and failing, and a strongly worded letter urging a change in cannabis laws to President Joe Biden from his strongest allies, America's federal policy on cannabis is not visionary at the moment.
Well, the nation and many of its individual states have changed significantly in the last decade. When it comes to opinions on weed, it can be argued that federal policy has fallen far behind the American psyche and perhaps even the global consciousness. As the US maintains its timid stance on weed, other countries have more concrete action. The
Time
first
to
one is
get in on it
Mexico.
here, buddy. So what reasons have other countries found to legalize and decriminalize cannabis while its U.S. remains unable to find its rationalization? Mexico, but it's it's funny that
No.
that's there. Go ahead.
Well, no, they're talking about their closest neighbor, and then they're so far ahead, but they're in a
Yeah,
standstill. They haven't been in the news in a long time.
down there, exactly,
Right?
yeah. They're not. They've talked about it, but it's been it just keeps getting held up in the senates,
Right.
the different level of
Right.
senates and the chiefs and something like that.
Right.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
So continue on.
They voted 8-3 in 2021 to decriminalize cannabis and legalizing its medical use and cultivation. But as you said, it's still stale. Moving on to the next one.
Yeah, it's still stale. Thailand. While the U.S. continues to debate cannabis, Thailand made history as the first Asian company to legalize cannabis on a medical level. The country has made it clear that smoking joints in public is very, very much punishable by law, but has legalized cannabis as medicine.
It's so cool there.
Next
It's a
one.
big business there. Malta. Thailand's not the only country making international headlines for cannabis legalization. Malta became the first European nation to legalize cannabis last year in 2021.
Yeah, they say the country is not open to cannabis lounges or dispensaries. Oh, that's too bad. It's too bad. Switzerland. Most recently, Switzerland lifted its ban on medical cannabis and has thereby legalized medical cannabis as of August.
Love that. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're saying
Yeah,
that there's a
talk about
variety of reasons
exporting
why
away.
countries are making major progress in cannabis legalization, while the U.S. lags, from hope to decreased crime and ways of increasing medical tourism. The justifications are varied.
Yes, they are. They are all across the board. I'm sure some would say probably the line that connects them would be the money end
Yeah.
of things. That's usually what gets some countries talking about it, eh? How they can export their product. So
Yes.
all right, on to the next story. I think I thought I just had some company here. All right, there we go. Headline says, "Come on, there, headline. Taking your time." Cannabis to go on sale in Switzerland as part of a study into regulation.
So cool. It's going on sale in pharmacies as part of the research. Long stigmatized for its illicit use, scientists are now looking at how legally selling cannabis affects consumption and health among users.
Yeah, the so-called Weed Care study will allow 370 participants in legally buy hemp products from 9 dispensaries in Basel. Health officials hope the trial, which gets underway on September the 15th, will address political questions about the possible regulation of cannabis, which is illegal in Switzerland except for medical exceptions.
The first research question is whether consumption changes, whether more is consumed, less or the same amount. That comes from Regine Staunauer, head of the addiction department of Basel University.
And we are also investigating if the mental state or physical health changes when cannabis is consumed from the pharmacies. So they're investigating that. Research participants are selected if they are. Okay, go ahead.
No. I think we're really a little bit delayed, my friend. You go ahead.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, okay. Research participants are selected if they already use cannabis and must complete surveys throughout the 30-month study.
Now, they can buy various hemp products from €8 to €12 per gram, a price determined by the current going rate on the black market. Participants may also...
price, because that's what they're charging the black market. It's not because it's what it costs them to sell it, to produce it and sell it. It's because it's what it costs on the black market. We did that here in Canada, So sad.
Comparative, not for the growth. Now, Lucas Engelberger, medical director of Basel, says it's not about full legalization, but regulation where consumption is possible in a protected setting. That's what we want to test now.
Yeah, the Weed Care project was approved by the Federal Office of Public Health in April, and 4 different types of cannabis herb and 2 types of hash will be available in the pharmacies, which study participants can buy after showing their ID cards. Wonder how many of those will be remade.
Switzerland's health office estimates that there are around 200,000 active consumers of cannabis in the country, despite the drug being illegal.
No, there you go. And in 2008, some 60% of Swiss voters rejected a proposal to decriminalize cannabis consumption in the referendum. So now they're doing this study instead. Yeah. I always found it a little bit weird that they were doing a study on it, but that's how they're doing it.
We'll follow up
that way. At least,
sure.
I just say, I guess if production or if use goes up from its consumption.
Yep.
All righty. We got going on here. Next story. This one. Come on. South Africa's cannabis growers left behind by legalization plans, according to Pondoland, who I believe is a writer.
It's a nice story. The drive from Mfatha to Dikini village in South Africa's Eastern Cape province is a picturesque journey filled with endless vistas, scattered homesteads, and winding roads which sky through undulating green hills that could easily be mistaken for cornfields, yet they are anything but.
That's cannabis, my local guide and cannabis activist, Greek Zuni, tells me. Everyone here grows. That's how they make a living. Cannabis, colloquially referred to as wow. Do you want to try that?
No. Blessings to you for trying.
Yeah, let's just call it. They call it chicken shade. Is a big part of many rural communities in Eastern Cape's Ponderland and a vital source of income.
At a homestead near the riverbank, we meet a group of men, women, and children tending to a fresh harvest. Their hands are stained green from plucking the cannabis heads all day. How wonderful is that?
I know.
Wow.
The pungent smell of cannabis hangs heavy in the air. They crack jokes while they work. Harvesting is a group effort. A massive heap of green heads lies beside them, drying in the midday sun.
Wow. How wonderful. Let's see. For cannabis member Natobiko, which is not her real name, farming cannabis is all she has ever known. She says, I learned how to grow it at 8 years old. And she says that very proudly.
Cannabis is very important to us because it's our livelihood and source of income. Everything we get it through selling cannabis. There is no jobs. Our children are just sitting here with us.
Well, cannabis might be a way of life for this community. Growing it at its scale is illegal. There are more than 900,000 small-scale farmers in the Eastern Cape and the provinces who have been growing cannabis for years. What? That's whoa!
Yeah.
That's a lot of grows.
That's a lot of grows. These growers have found themselves on the wrong side of the law many times, but the government's tough stance on cannabis looks set to change, because it started with a landmark court ruling in 2018, which decriminalized the private use, possession, and growing of cannabis.
I want to try their cannabis. Can you imagine? Now, let's see. Oh, scrolling down. Earlier this year, during the State of the Nation addresses, President Cyril Ramaphosa said South Africa could tap into the global multi-billion-dollar medical hemp and cannabis industry, which he said that had the potential to create 130,000 much-needed jobs.
Yeah, while this may be good news for commercial companies, traditional growers in the East Cape feel left behind. The cost of getting a license to grow cannabis is just too expensive for many. We've heard that too. Here
Look
in
at that
Canada.
photo. His headpiece
Yeah.
looks like it might have been made from a tiger tail. Do you see that? Or isn't that
Oh,
incredible?
his
Ooh,
headband there. Yeah.
what an
Wow.
incredible photo here with all the beautiful cannabis in the background.
Plants.
Wow. Okay, so Mr. Zuli, Greek Zuni, who is pictured here, says government needs to change its approach and come up with laws that are grower friendly and citizen friendly. Right now, the people who have licenses to grow cannabis are rich people. Sound familiar?
Yeah. He goes on to say the government should be assisting the communities to grow so that they can compete with the world market. Here is a commodity growing so easily and organically. We are not jealous. The rich should also come in, but please accommodate the poorest of the poor.
Wow. What a beautiful sentiment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's saying last year the government unveiled a master plan for the industrialization and commercialization of the cannabis plant. It values the local industry, which has largely been operating in the shadows at nearly 1.6 billion euros is what it equates to.
It is seeking to make South Africa's cannabis industry globally competitive and to produce cannabis products for the international and domestic market. Key to the rollout is the Cannabis for Private Purposes bill, set to be signed during the 2022-2023 financial year, which provides guidelines and rules for consumers and those that want to grow cannabis in their own homes.
It would legalize the cultivation of hemp and cannabis for medicinal purposes, thus opening up the industry for serious investment and growth. It is also expected to clear up legal gray areas and to provide prospective investors with clarity on the future of South African cannabis market.
Although much still remains unclear, it seems the government is committed to opening up the industry because the economic opportunities are too enticing to ignore.
Of course.
Yeah, the plans have broad public support with few dissenting voices. That's good.
It's really good.
Yeah. So that's quite a bit of a long story there. Another super long one, but it's good to see that things are changing. You know, they're going to legalize there. Let's hope they get more of everybody else involved in it.
Yes.
Just not the rich people.
Right.
You know,
the ones that have the stained green fingers.
Yeah, let's get the people with the stained green fingers. And I'm sure the nice little hash underneath their fingernails.
Right.
That's right. That's right. All right. You know what time it is? That's right. It's time for our Mushie Moment. And today's headline comes to us from CanStat, and it says Psilocybin offers new ways to lower risks of opioid addiction.
Look at those scores right there. The opioid crisis has been felt throughout BC for decades, with policymakers, advocates, and researchers looking for new ways to help those with opiate dependency or opiate use disorder. Two
benchmark treatments exist, methadone and I can't even get that one out of my lips. Both synthetic opioid derivatives. These treatments come with high risks of dependence and therefore trade one addiction for another, according to a 2022 study on these ODs. According to a study from OUD by Jones.
Right. Western biomedicine is seeing a renaissance in the use of psychedelics and psychedelic-assisted therapy to lower one's risk of addiction.
Pamela Krusko, a founding member of the Psychedelic Association of Canada, medical lead of the Roots to Thrive program, and a family physician, sees psychedelic-assisted therapy as an opportunity for deeper healing.
Wow, a family physician is saying that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I like the next lines too.
If you focus on the trauma and healing the trauma, the addiction goes away. So addiction is not to be addiction is not to be treated. It is a symptom of trauma, and if we focus on that and stop treating addicts like the addiction is the problem, we're going to be in so much better service to our patients, our clients, and society. Wow.
Yeah, that's usually what it is. A trauma-related situation starts it. So.
Yeah.
Among the psychedelics currently being studied, psilocybin, which is the active ingredient in magic mushrooms, has showed promising potential to lower the risk of addiction. Elena Arganito, a postdoctoral research fellow at the University of British Columbia and BC Center on Substance Use, has been involved in notable studies that analyze psychedelic use in medicine.
Now, she says that psilocybin works to lower the risk of addiction on two levels, the neurological and the psychological, saying psilocybin, like other classic psychedelics, are antagonists of the 5-HT2A serotonin receptors in the brain. And this appears to work by enhancing neuroplasticity and psychological flexibility, which essentially really enable the brain to change and adapt more easily.
On the other hand, she says the psychedelics generate experiences of profound awe and ego dissolution. These experiences allow for someone to find new ways of understanding and meaning in life. For addiction, these experiences might motivate someone to change.
Certainly. In a recent longitudinal study from Argentina and the BC Center on Substance Use, 4,000 participants have been studied since 2006. They found that participants who had used psychedelics recently or in the last 6 months were significantly less likely to subsequently use illicit opiates on a daily basis. Wow.
That's good. Another 2018 study on marginalized women by Argentino found that psychedelic use had a positive effect on the relationship between using prescription opioids and against suicide risk. In the Jones study, researchers also identified collaborations between psilocybin use and reduced risk of opioid use disorder. This replicated findings from a 2017 study in which 44,000 individuals found that psychedelic use was associated with a 40% reduced risk of opioid abuse and 27% reduced risk of opioid dependence in the last year.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
However, these studies have a caveat. The results are based on cross-sectional data or associations, and as a result, cannot be used to draw casual conclusions. They do, however, contribute to the growing evidence that psilocybin is worth investigating in a clinical trial. That's coming from the Glacier Media interviewed for this story. And that makes sense, of course, dating back to 2006 and maybe looking at it that way, but it will build. It will say, okay, well, there's some evidence here. Let's put it in a more clinical trial way.
Exactly. They'll put that there. Hopefully it never just doesn't get shelved and gets dusted, but it adds to the wall.
Family doctor coming forward with this. So I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Just so you know, where were we there? Okay, other studies that demonstrate the efficacy of psilocybin are being done at the Center for Psychedelic and Conscious Research at Johns Hopkins University. Albert Garcia Romo, a member of the Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences facility and researcher at the center, says that a component of the OUD that isn't discussed enough is the level of hopelessness and social despair that comes with numbing themselves when they're using these substances.
Oh my, even saying, I think psychedelics can help people to sort of come to terms with some of those issues in a way that they might not be able to through regular types of treatments that are available. So brilliant that they're saying that. I love it.
Yeah. Among his notable work is a pilot study that used psilocybin to help those with tobacco addiction. The results showed that the classic psychedelic used in a structured treatment program holds considerable promise in promoting long-term smoking abstinence.
Wow, another positive effect of using psychedelics. That's incredible that they're just being recognized here. It goes on to talk about how psychedelic research was happening in the 1950s. And they kind of squashed it. They kind of stopped that from happening when big pharmacy came in. And then when big pharmacy came in, then everybody became addicted to big pharmacy. And now they're saying, oh, maybe we better go back to the beginning and take what we were using before big pharmacy came in and messed everybody up.
Yeah, exactly. Because, there's been research here and there, it keeps coming out and, showing that there's benefits and,
They stopped it. So it's time to bring it back because too many, they're literally saying, hey, people are dying. We got to fix this. And we do.
Yeah. And if it can help people get off the opioids. Save some people.
Addictions, off of the cigarettes, like the nicotine they're saying.
Yeah.
We did an article about how it was helping with alcoholism. I think that was on our last broadcast. So opiates, tobacco, alcohol. Wow. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant.
Lots of good things.
Yes.
That's for sure. Well, anything else offhand you want to get into before we say goodbye?
No, I just want to say goodbye.
Remind anybody about?
We'll see you next week. We're headed to a night on the weekend. So if anybody's in the London area listening or wanted more information about the big event that we're doing, please contact me. I'd love to see you.
All right. That's our Reefer Report from the Legacy420.com news desk for August the 22nd, 22. And as we close the show, we'd like to say thank you to our sponsors, as we always do. Legacy420.com, BMAHydroponics.com, DrBuckCTS.com, and the Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. A big thank you to our watchers and listeners. And don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's lovely.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
BMA Hydroponics has everything you need to succeed. Visit our hydroponics superstore at 404 Maitland Drive in Belleville, and we'll show you how to grow your own quality cannabis for pennies per gram. We're open Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Thursdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Call 613-967-9888. BMA Hydroponics. It's worth the drive.
The only way to go.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.